Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon. We're so glad you could join us today. I'm Asia Gore. North Korea suddenly changed its tone on upcoming talks with the U.S., and the White House response indicates it's taking the latest threats in stride. CBS's Angelica Alvarez has more.
The White House says it fully expected this about-face from North Korea, which is now warning it may cancel next month's summit with President Trump. The North is objecting to U.S. demands to abandon its nuclear weapons.
We know that this is kind of a standard function that can often happen, and we're not surprised by it, but we're going to continue moving forward.
Hours earlier, the North also took South Korea by surprise, canceling a high-level meeting about reducing military tensions.
North Korea's new threats are an abrupt change of tone and a message to the White House not to take its willingness to negotiate as a sign of weakness.
One of North Korea's foreign ministers singled out National Security Advisor John Bolton, objecting to his comment that President Kim Jong-un should follow the Libyan model of total disarmament.
I think that's right. I think we're looking at the Libya model of 2003-2004.
Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders says the White House does not have a cookie-cutter model for the negotiations.
Look, again, this is the President Trump model. He's going to run this the way he sees fit. We're 100% confident, as we've said many times before, and as we all know that you're aware, he's the best negotiator, and we're very confident in that front.
The White House says if North Korea wants to meet, President Trump will be ready. If not, the U.S. will keep up a campaign of maximum pressure. Angelica Alvarez, CBS News, Washington.
The talks with North Korea are scheduled for June 12th in Singapore. Here in Montana, a Billings man wanted by Butte police this morning for the murder of an Anaconda woman is now in custody. Troy Johnson was arrested around 7 a.m., about 4 hours after a police pursuit. Johnson is accused in the murder of 64-year-old Shelley Schaefer. The woman was found dead Tuesday in her home on East Park Street. Investigators believe Schaefer was hit in the head with a blunt object. The victim's vehicle, credit cards, cash, and some jewelry were missing. Authorities believe Johnson was living in the duplex owned by the victim's family without permission at the time of the murder. Johnson allegedly led Butte police on a car chase this morning before rolling the vehicle at Holmes Avenue and Hanson Road. He was apprehended shortly thereafter. The former resident of the largest home ever built in Billings, now accused of faking his own abduction in Virginia in a scheme to run away with his mistress. Larry Price is charged in U.S. District Court in Virginia with making false statements to investigators. Price was the subject of a missing persons search in April that included over 100 federal, state, and local officers. He was found walking on the side of the road hours after he was reported missing by his wife. Price told investigators he was kidnapped by members of a biker gang who wanted him to use his connections with the railroad to ship methamphetamine. Price claimed he was held at gunpoint and robbed, but Price's mistress then admitted to police they'd planned to disappear together and live at a home 2 miles from where Price was found. Our partners at Last Best News reported in 2014 on the development of Price's 26,000 square foot property in Billings. A former secretary of the Montana High School Rodeo Association now charged with embezzling more than $38,000. Alicia Lapp is charged with 1 count of theft by embezzlement in Beaverhead County. Lapp started working for the association back in March of 2015 and was let go in December of last year. Court documents state Lapp wrote several checks to herself and made several debits to the account without approval. Lapp admitted to authorities she used the checks to pay off 2 separate loans and to buy things for her family. 2 environmental groups and 3 landowners are suing to block 287 new oil and gas leases in Montana. The suit filed in federal court alleges the Bureau of Land Management failed to account for potential groundwater contamination and climate change when at least 150,000 acres of public land in December and March. The leases in question involve more than 98,000 acres in the Tongue River Valley in southeastern Montana. It also includes 46,000 acres near Livingston, the Beartooth Foothills, and public land near the Missouri River Breaks National Monument. By failing to quantify the greenhouse gas emissions that will result from drilling and fracking, the suit alleges the sales are illegal and unaccepted. BLM officials did not return our request for comment. Flood levels in Missoula County are between the minor and moderate flood level mark. Some residents are able to return to their homes to grab necessities or to prepare for the next round of flooding, which is expected to begin Thursday. The Salvation Army and YMCA are offering showers and laundry facilities to those in need. You do not need to be staying at the buildings to use those services. The county currently does not have a plan in place for sandbag disposal once flooding ends, but officials say that will be part of the recovery process that's still being developed. Meanwhile, dozens of volunteers gather at Fort Missoula to help residents of flooded areas. And among those volunteering, several refugees displaced from their own homes due to conflict and natural disasters around the globe. The Soft Landing Missoula organization worked with Team Rubicon to fill sandbags. Team members say their goal is to help their neighbors in the community in times of need. They say the refugees are able to relate to those facing difficult times. We turn now to the weather scene with Ed McIntosh, and we've got more rain on the horizon.
That's right, and it's going to aggravate the situation we already have, Asia. As we take a look at the map, a lot of the areas that we were just talking about still have the flood warnings into effect, but now the darker green shaded areas, flood watches into effect, as we could see some threats from heavy rain and additional snowpack melting from the mountains. And even in areas where we don't have a warning into effect right now, we do have some pretty fast moving water, and it doesn't take too much to sweep you off your feet if you get too close to the waterways. And running very cold, hypothermia can set in very quickly. And we've seen a considerable amount of bank erosion as well. So be careful, because even areas you might think you have a firm footing could give way. We'll have more on the weather coming up here in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Ed. We'll take a closer look. Yellowstone National Park is warning visitors to watch out for grizzly and black bear study areas. From May 21st through June 30th, bear research will be underway. The study includes trapping and radio collaring of the bears, and while the traps will not be located near any hiking trails or backcountry campsites, areas near the trap sites will have posted warnings, and park visitors should stay away. We now know the name of the Helena man who was killed in a crash near Jordan on Monday. Authorities in Garfield County say 28-year-old Colby Hurt died in the single vehicle crash. Hurt's vehicle was eastbound on Highway 200 when it slid off the road and overturned in a ditch. Authorities say Hurt was not wearing a seatbelt and was pronounced dead at the hospital. The Montana Highway Patrol reports Hurt may have fallen asleep at the wheel while driving at a high rate of speed. Drugs nor alcohol are suspected factors. Law enforcement officers from across Montana stopped in Deer Lodge Tuesday to pay tribute to fallen officers. The law enforcement memorial service held at the Old Montana Prison commemorated the last day of Broadwater Sheriff's Deputy Mason Moore's life. He was shot to death during a traffic stop near Three Forks on May 16th of last year. Moore died just one day after last year's ceremony. The emotional event reminded those in law enforcement about the harsh reality of the job.
Montana has a lot of dirt between light bulbs. Your backup is often an hour away. So you learn to be diplomatic, you learn to show a lot of respect, but there are people who don't show respect. There are people who set out to kill us.
More than 120 officers have been killed in the line of duty in Montana history. Still ahead on the noon news, one of the largest settlements in U.S. history for victims of sexual abuse. More on Larry Nassar's case next. But first, Ed has our weather forecast. Stay with us.
You're watching MTN News with Asia Gore. Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh, and farm and ranch news from the Northern Egg Network. This is the noon news on Q2, Montana's news leader.